Mighty fine theatre, Fords.
Truly is.
Truly is. Magnificent.
Yeah, I've seen this exact play 4 times now.
4 times. And you're
Four
still
times.
laughing a lot.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't get much time for plays, you know.
Yes, I know.
The war, Reconstruction,
Washington must be so stressful,
oh,
you know.
tell me about
But
it.
now with the war over, now we can turn our attention to one country united. Long live the Union!
Long live the
Long live the Union!
my friend.
Oh, yes. This play never ceases to make me chuckle.
Look at him, look at him!
Oh, look at him! That scallywag! No. My favorite scene has just passed, actually. Oh,
The
yes.
one where you are on the floor
But now with the war, yes, no matter how much longer we live, we'll remember these times. Remember the times that we laughed and we cried and we danced.
Now I can truly start living with a wall.
Yes, I know. That dirty South. And that General Lee.
Still a lot of work to do.
That General Lee, though. Oh, I would have his head boiled in water. But to know that no matter how much longer we live, we will live free.
No! Sic semper tyrannis!
Get in, bro!
Secretary Wells, what do you think he brought us in here for this evening?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Good evening, gentlemen. Secretary Wells, Mr.
President?
Secretary Seward.
How do you, Mr. President?
I have some business to discuss with you. But first, let me take off my jacket.
Shall we toast the Union?
Yes.
A toast
Gentlemen.
to the Union.
So what have you brought for us this evening?
This is what I've been working on. I call it my Emancipation Proclamation.
Interesting.
Be honest with me. It's still a work in progress. That on the first day of January, in the year of our Lord, 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do no act or acts to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts they may make for their actual freedom.
Well, Mr. President, it's interesting that you bring this up. If we are in hopes of union once again, we cannot isolate the South. We are afraid of anarchy. If we are to issue this proclamation, as you say it, the South may very well turn against us. We must be careful. We must also be careful of foreign nations. We cannot isolate ourselves. As a union, we must bring the states together, not further apart.
I see where you're coming from, Secretary.
And sir, I'm just not so sure about this. I don't really see a scenario where this works out for us. Remember that battle here a couple months ago?
Oh, how could I forget? We had a charge right over there. Got
Yeah.
about 17 men.
That was crazy, man. I
Oh,
almost,
man.
almost lost my life over there.
Timmy.
Do you remember John, how hard he fought over there?
John, he deserves a medal. He should deserve a medal.
Poor
God
guy.
bless his soul.
Did you go to his funeral?
Oh, of course I went to his
Oh
funeral.
man, his old woman, she was distraught.
And his 2 kids.
Oh sir, do you hear all that music?
Music to my ears. I haven't heard this song in years.
I wonder what the president's gonna be talking about.
It's probably something huge.
Oh, here he comes now. Oh.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives, that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in the larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work, which they, who fought here, have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
I can't give all this up. General Grant wants to surrender. I'll give him a surrender.
General Lee?
General Grant, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
I'm well. Could be better. Okay, so the terms.
Yeah. It's quite strange for all the talk we have about each other that we've only seen each other on one prior occasion.
And what was that?
You have no recollection?
I do not.
It was only 18 years ago when we battled in Mexico.
You must be talking about the Mexican-American War.
Yes, I do remember. See, I have fond memories of victory. It's quite funny to be in that position again. I remember that specific battle when it was one great victory.
General Grant, the terms. I have no time for your stories.
Your arms must be passed over to the Union.
You must realize, General Grant, that I've dedicated my entire career to this cause. And you must understand my hesitancy to give it all away right here.
Generally, I am no more comfortable with this moment than you are. But you are a smart man. You must understand that the war must come to an end at some point or another. And that point is now.
I guess you're right, General Grant. Although I'm hesitant to give it all away, I know that I have no other option. So let me hear your
may sign.
turn.
Oh. Thank you, General.
Oh,
Look what this war's done! Oh, the present.
Boy, remember that battle we had here a couple months earlier?
How could I forget?
Remember that
Charge
hill
right
over
over there.
And look, I think the prison's starting to come out now. You hear that music?
Do 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 do.